We begin with some breaking news at the top of 12 noon, a major development in international trade diplomacy. While speaking at the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation CEO Summit in South Korea, US President Donald Trump has said that he is going to do a trade deal with India and that he has great respect for India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Praising Prime Minister Modi, Trump said, and I quote him here, PM Modi is the nicest looking guy. He is tough as hell, unquote. The latest remark has reignited attention and focus on the India-US trade negotiations that have been quietly progressing for months but have seen many twists and turns.
If you look at India and Pakistan, so I'm doing a trade deal with India and I have great respect and love. As you know, for Prime Minister Modi, we have a great relationship.
Aditya Raj Kaul and Vishnu Som joining me on that big story at the top of 12 here on Breaking Ground. Aditya, coming to you first. It's not the first time that we've seen Donald Trump softening his stand on India amid the tensions over tariffs. And now he's made this big statement. How do we read into this?
Well, Vedika, a very significant statement coming in South Korea. President Trump clearly indicating that he will be signing a trade deal with India. You know, before this, he had made a lot of statements on the trade deal, the negotiations, and how he tried to apparently stop the India-Pakistan war. But this is the first time that he says that he will go ahead and sign the trade deal. There's been softening of the stance ever since the SCO summit in Tianjin a few weeks ago. But again, it's important to mention that while Trump says that the trade deal will happen, the signing will happen, there is no timeline that has been set. And also, he again goes on to go on the same kind of a rhetoric and propaganda on stopping the India-Pakistan war. He also says that, you know, it was he who approached India and Pakistan, and then India and Pakistan said that, no, we cannot stop the trade with you, and, we will stop the war. So that's not how things happen. It was Pakistan who approached India, almost begged after Operation Sindoor for DGMO talks and the war to be stopped. So we do not know what the timeline really would be. Let's remember that November is the deadline for the trade deal to happen. Will the timeline really be met? Is anybody's guess right now, but it does seem that there's been some important progress that's been made. There have been important visits both in New Delhi and Washington, D.C., and it's likely that by next month there could be some steady progress and perhaps the first tranche of the trade deal could be signed.
Senior Managing Editor, NDTV, Vishnu Som, also live with us. Vishnu, how do we read into this? How significant is the statement by the US President given the current status of trade relations between the two countries?
Well, this is what he said right now, and I think Aditya will bear me out when I say that let's perhaps have this discussion tomorrow at the same time and see if the statement remains. But be that as it may, it is significant because with Trump saying that there will be a trade deal, chances are that we are progressing towards that. Now, we've consistently reported that there is a great interest in India in pushing through a trade deal. It works at so many levels economically. It gets rid of those sanctions. But then the entire issue of trade has been mired because of additional American sanctions on India's continued import of Russian oil. But with America putting new, fresh sanctions on Russian oil entities, the amount of oil that India apparently importing from Russia has gone down. So is that one way of sort of overcoming all the problems which America has with India importing Russian oil? And is that therefore something that links into potential progress being made on a trade deal, number one? And number two, what will irritate New Delhi still are these constant references to Op Sindoor.
Yes.
As somebody covering Op Sindoor closely, I can tell you that in as much as America, and specifically President J.D. Vance, did reach out to Prime Minister Narendra Modi on approximately the 8th or 9th of May 2025, saying that Pakistan was planning something much larger and much bigger, the response that the Americans were given by India was that if they do that, then we will escalate even further. And that's exactly what India did. We escalated, we hit various air bases of them, etc., etc. America did not have a role in ending this. It was Pakistan that came to the ceasefire table in the afternoon of the 10th of May, which is something that the American president just doesn't seem to want to get into at all.
Vishnu, like you're saying, there's some steps perhaps being taken towards making this a significant trade deal as and when it happens. Who knows what Trump will say tomorrow. But let's just for a moment talk about the sticking points because of which this trade deal has been delayed over the last months and years?
Well, I think a couple of the sticking points have to do with the various sectors. Number one, agriculture and dairy. Then there, of course, is affiliated to genetic crops, which the Americans want to bring in. Now, for all sorts of reasons, for example, cultural sensitivities, we do not want our market to be flooded with American dairy products because in certain cases, these dairy products are fed with meat, and that's something that doesn't work at all as far as we are concerned. There are other areas where we also have some concerns about protecting the interests of farmers. We do not, for example, want our economy or our sectors to be flooded with genetically modified variants of certain crops. However, there are others which may be more acceptable. Soya bean is something where there seems to be some progress between the two countries. But those are just a couple of areas which can probably be addressed. And India is negotiating very, very hard because we are very clear that the interests of India come first and foremost, right? So they talk about making America great again and everything being done in America's interest. This is about India ensuring that we remain great and ensuring that whatever trade deal that we do protects our own interests. So you've got two sides working on that premise. Trade deals are never easy to take place. But I dare say that the larger areas where India and the US can have a meaningful trade deal are things where both sides, are broadly agreed upon. It's a question of implementing this, whether it's going to be a small deal, which ultimately results in a big trade deal, or a big trade deal from the very onset, which is what America wants. That's something that we don't need.
All right, Vishnu and Aditya, thanks for joining me live on that developing story. We'll, of course, keep tracking it through the day-to-day, and the impact that this statement could have on the days ahead is a question that only Donald Trump can answer at this point, but this is going to be one of our top stories today.